what are prices? Prices are information. Prices are some of the most powerful and condensed forms of information ever known to humankind. The great economist Milton Friedman explained how complicated it is to make a pencil. He basically said the lead comes from a lead mine in Asia, the rubber comes from a rubber tree in another part of the world, the timber might come from a forest in the western United States, the paint might come from a titanium mine somewhere in Africa, and all these people are working together to make a pencil. None of them actually know they're making a pencil, but they agree to make the ingredients of a pencil. Why? Because they're zapped with a laser beam called the price signal. The price is high enough to incentivize them to make the investments, to do the work, to supply the goods. And the consumer knows what it costs to make that pencil. Why? Not because he called to all the mines and he called out over to the forest and asked them all to feed in the price and pull out his calculator and figured out what it should cost to make a pencil. No, because when he walked in to the store, there was a price, and that price basically zapped to him the cost of making the pencil, and the hundreds of people who had unknowingly conspired to make it communicated that information to the buyer just like that, and then he calculated in his mind that the pencil was worth more than the money he had to spend to get it, and therefore all of those laser beams led to that wonderful little transaction that brought him home a pencil. Here's the problem with inflation. It messes with all of those information signals. Just last week, I was in New Brunswick, and I was speaking to a gentleman who's in a recycling business. He signs 5-year agreements to do recycling work for other companies. Here's the problem. When you don't know what the price is going to be over the next 5 years, you don't know what you should charge. He locked in contracts that expected inflation to be the normal 2%. Now, we've got 5% inflation and potentially rising. What is the difference? Well, over a 5-year period, instead of having 10% total inflation, it will be closer to 25, or with compounded interest, 30%. So now he's getting actually 20% less in his 5th year than he actually thought he was going to get. So all of these information signals that tell that allow people to exchange work for wages, product for payment, and investment for interest are totally scrambled by inflation. The technology that is supposed to allow us to transport value through space and time is scrambled. It's like scrambling the hard drive on a computer. And all of these mixed signals mess with the ability of humans to exchange value with one another. And when that system breaks down, everything breaks down. That is why inflation has almost always led to social disorder. It also allows those with the greatest means to profit the most. Why? Because they can move their money into things that are inflation protected, like land, buildings, private businesses, stocks, bonds, and countless other assets that inflate in price. Meanwhile, the people who actually live off their wages see a real pay cut. Those people who are wealthy enough not only profit by watching their assets inflate in value, but the real value of the debts that they take on shrinks in inflation-adjusted terms. And so what happens? Those who have access to the financial system get vastly richer as their debts shrink in real value and their assets inflate, and those who do the work, the people in the fields for whom we painted these floors green, they watch the fruits of their labors withered away by this inflation. And so, Madam Chair, I rise today to call for a restoration of the real integrity of our money, to bring back the meaning of money, which is to transport value over space and time, to restore free markets among free people, and to put the commoner ahead of the crown. Thank you.
Question.